Welcome back, folks. I have very good news for Sony shooters because Sony will announce a new camera pretty soon, and today I want to discuss everything about this camera, what's likely to come, what's a bit more unlikely, what the specs could be, and so forth. But this is more serious stuff because it's 100% certain that it's going to happen within the next 1-2 months. And in general, I have a ton of rumors coming on this channel about Sigma, other manufacturers, Panasonic, and so forth. So definitely stay tuned because every day you can expect me now to post 1 or 2 or even more videos because we have the CP Plus show that kicks off end of February, and now I'm getting solid rumors from everywhere. So there is a lot of work for me and a lot of cool time for you on this channel. So again, if you want to help me on this channel, you can first of all like this video to help me in the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button to not miss out the upcoming rumors. Sony will definitely announce a new camera, but I think it's unlikely to be happening at the CP Plus show, which kicks off in 20 days from now, a bit less. So by end of February, we are likely to get only lenses from Sony. Probably the announcement is around February 25, where we are getting probably the 100-400 GM and G lenses, so the 100-400 4.0 GM and the 100-400 variable aperture G lens, and maybe even a 16-28 2.0 GM extraordinary lens. So I hope that I will get the final confirmation about all those 2 lenses coming at the CP Plus show. But definitely there will be a lens announcement from Sony, but no camera announcement like I told you many times in the past videos. But today I have good news because Sony did officially register a new camera in China. And if you follow me on this channel, you know what this means. Usually it takes about 1, 2, max 3 months until a camera that has been registered in China will be announced. I will make you a quick example. When the Sony a7 IV was registered in early October, the camera then got announced in early December, so more or less 2 months after. So the camera that we're talking about has the code WW847606 and has been registered now in early February, which means that probably in by end of March, April, we are getting this camera. And there are a couple of things we learned from this registration, which makes us believe that this is a high-end, mid to high-end camera. So this is not an entry-level camera. That's the first good news. We love serious stuff on this channel. Let's check out what we learned from that registration. First of all, it supports Wi-Fi 6 technology, so definitely this will be a more serious camera. On this image at the bottom, you also see that the Chinese source that spotted the registration wrote A7, but that's just his speculation. There's nothing in the registration that says that this is an A7 camera. It could be also FX, A1, A9 or whatever. Then the second info we learned is that the camera is made in Japan. And that's another indication that this is a mid to high-end camera, because usually cameras manufactured in Japan are the most expensive one. By comparison, the Sony a7 IV is made in China, so it's considered more like entry to mid-level. Sony Japan does produce cameras like the high-end Alpha A12, the A9 III, also the A7 CER is made in Japan, also the FX3 is made in Japan, the A7S III. So as you see, those are really the most important high-end cameras from Sony, and so we know now that this is going to be a serious model. That's all we learned from that registration, so we don't know anything else about this camera. There are no other indications, so all we know high-end, mid to high-end, higher end than the A7 V, and also made in Japan, and also coming probably March, April. That's the ballpark. Now, all I know from trusted sources is that the FX3 II development is already done. So I'm just making a guess here, so it's not a confirmation. Camera registered, sources told me the FX3 II is coming. Then in April we'll have the NAB show, which is a cine focus show. Would make sense to get the FX3 II for that event, but we know that Sony also tends to make announcements by itself away from those events, so there is absolutely no guarantee that this is going to happen. But in my opinion, the strongest case is for the FX3 II here. Of course, some of you might think that even the A7S IV would actually fit such an event like an NAB show, but I have no confirmation about the A7S IV as of yet. Other cameras that are rumored to be announced this year, but I think are a bit less likely to be announced, are the A7R VI, which I think is more likely to be announced the second half of the year, probably October, November. This camera is going to be a very important camera for Sony, and I have some early rumors I'm working on, and in the next weeks I will share some info about the A7R6. Then of course we also on paper would need a new A6900 APS-C camera. So I can see a chance also for this camera to be announced. Usually Sony does announce APS-C cameras the first half of the year or mid of the year, so between April, June, July. Usually we get APS-C cameras, so that would also fit the time frame. Now another camera that could be announced is the A7C III, which is basically the A7 V in a more compact body. But I honestly don't know if this is the camera that will be announced, because actually A7C II is not manufactured in Japan, and this camera that has been registered is made in Japan, so I don't know if this is the A7C III, but maybe the A7C III will be announced this year, but probably more close to end of August, September, like usually Sony does announce the A7C cameras in that time frame. But you never know. The last camera that is in need of a replacement and which totally doesn't get me excited is the ZV-E1. It's the most compact full-frame E-mount camera on the market, so there's a value maybe in that, and some of you might like the idea to get this camera, but I got no indication that this camera is coming. So to wrap it up, I do think there's a fair chance we're getting the FX3 II March, April, so not at the CP Plus show where we are getting the lenses. Like I told you, around February 25, Sony is likely to have a lens announcement event. Then probably at the NAB show we might see a FX3 II, and I think it's also a camera that is really needed now, because we saw the Nikon ZR is really a super capable camera, the Canon C50, the FX3 is really expensive and in many areas behind those cameras. So Sony needs to do something, and the FX3 II is, in my opinion, just speculating, the best guess. If you have some info about this camera, if you know somehow what is coming, you can contact me using this email address and contact form. And if you have any other info about other manufacturers' announcement, you can also drop a message using the email address and contact form. I hope that in the next days and weeks, trusted sources can come back and tell me if indeed this is the FX3 II or maybe something else. I don't know what you would like to get. Maybe you really want the ZV-E1 too. Now, when it comes to specs about the FX3 II, basically there are two options in my opinion: that it uses the global shutter of the A9 III, so 24 megapixel global shutter, or a new partially stacked sensor. I think now it's more likely that it will use a new partially stacked sensor, because I'm working on rumors about new sensors that will be released by Sony. I already told you there's a 180 megapixel medium format partially stacked sensor coming. Not now, but in a couple of months for sure, and that's a 100% reliable info. And the same sources told me other partially stacked sensors will be made by Sony, new sensors. So maybe one of them is made for the FX3 II. So a new low resolution partially stacked sensor for the FX3 II would be, in my opinion, epic. But again, I repeat, nothing is sure yet. All I wanted to tell you is new mid to high-end camera, so definitely more high-end than the A7 V is coming. You can let me know in the comment system what you hope to get. For me, my guess is the FX3 II, but also A7S4, A7R6, the ZV-E1 II, A6900 cameras actually would be in dire need of a replacement. So there are many cameras that probably will be announced this year, more than we had past year. And all we know also is that Sony will have a lens announcement event around February 25 for 2 or 3 lenses, and those are exciting lenses. So even if we don't get a camera at the CP Plus show, those lenses will be exciting. And like I told you at the beginning of this video, I have now more rumors about Sigma that they will announce a couple of E-mount lenses, but also Samyang, and then I have rumors about other manufacturers like Panasonic and so forth, so stay tuned on this channel because there's a lot more coming. In the next videos I will share more details about what's coming ahead of the CP Plus show, and also discuss some of the new partially stacked sensor specs that I got from Sony sources. So those are tremendous sensors, so I'm super happy. I think we will see I think the A7R6, but also the FX3 II and other cameras will have new partially stacked sensor, and this will be very exciting. So again, you would help me a lot if you like this video to help me YouTube algorithm. Obviously, subscribe to not miss any of the upcoming rumors. See you soon.